Alright folks, we're back, and we're going to be getting into another game. Is it readied just in time for us? I actually, I'm going to need to put the camera on you for a few seconds at the start of this game. I don't know, I'm really not feeling good from that. 100 Mr. Destructoids! Thank you very much, Terminator.
What?
Are you ready? I'm ready.
Yep.
Cool. So yeah, camera's gonna be on you for a few minutes. Hopefully shouldn't be too long. But let's hop into the game. Ours, of course, isn't out of the tournament after that loss. That was the winner's bracket finals, so he will fall down to the losers. We've got this best of 3. The winner of this plays ours, and the winner of that plays Masa again. So we're getting kind of close to it, guys. But PV, there's Protoss here today.
There's Protoss?
Yeah. Okay, camera's on you. I will be right back. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, well, in the top left is the yellow Zerg. It is game time. In the bottom right is the pink Protoss. It is Hjax. Oh. ZVP. We didn't see any Protoss. I mean, we got TVT into ZVZ, TVZ, yeah, no Protoss. Hjax is the last. And with this, it's almost perfectly balanced. 2 Terran, 1 Protoss, 1 Zerg. Nailed it. The winner of this goes on to face ours. I do expect it to be game time. I just don't know anything about Hjax other than he got this far, so he's, definitely decent. He beats, well, he got walked over BioIce. He beat Caliber, walked over B-Lord. Actually, he's gotten a lot of walkovers, so that might explain it more than anything else. Yeah, and he did lose 2-0 already to ours to start things off with, so I definitely think Game Time's going to take it. But we see what our only Protoss can do here. Maybe some sneaky things. Has a scout going to the main base. Yeah, just a single probe. Hide it away to try and scout for the third. Thank you, 1T, for another 100 bits. I promised to drink, but we didn't have much time with the camera on, so I'll do that after this. But he confirms the third base goes down. This doesn't necessarily mean they're not committing to some type of attack, but it is a good sign. Meanwhile, Hjax just waiting for his Nexus, Seminix core, and all that jazz. Waiting on that tech. We didn't get to see Game Time's ZVP. I don't remember. Of course, the highlight was his games versus Euthermal, a Terran, so I really can't remember the other ones. Celil, also the 100 bits. Thank you very much. So that Council is thrown down for Hjax. This doesn't really tell us what he's going to do. Most Zergs are, opening up with the +1 melee into Hydras, so Ling, Baneling, Hydra. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Game Time does the same thing. That's where we're at. I'm out of things to talk about. Robo gets thrown down too. Overlord's gonna get in here and have eyes on the Twilight Council. Not researching anything yet. No Chrono Boost on it either. Looks like a lot less suspicious. And this Overlord is not going to be taken care of either because Protoss just generally do not make a lot of anti-air units. It's unfortunately the reality of it. They have to get kind of used to having their builds scouted. And this is a build that you don't necessarily mind being scouted. I mean, the Dark Shrine, not Proxy, Double Archon Warp Prism drop is something that will still do damage and keep you in a good macro game, even if it is full-on scouted, which it almost was. No, it was. Okay. I think the Ling saw that, the Overlord. Roach Warren's going to come down along with the Lair, and he will probably have an Overseer in time, but definitely Spore Crawlers. The Roaches just make it really for sure that you can hold on to it. The Lings could be a little suspicious. If they get around on Archons, they're perfectly fine, really. But if they do bulk up, then that's when the Archons can deal with them even, pretty good as well. So the Roachborn might be for a safety measure, kind of the point. For a lot of Zergs, it is. They still go into the melee upgrades and the banelings more than the Roaches, but we still don't have the evolution chambers. We're not quite sure which way the game time is pointing to. Warp Prism getting sent out. Gateway's finishing up. There's 3 of them. Game time does have his Spore Crawlers because his lair isn't quite done. Not worth risking the DTs sniping a building Spore Crawler because your Overseer was late and then sniping a bunch of drones. A lot of Protosses, of course, just put them in Archons immediately. With the 4th gateway only just finishing up, it's a little bit awkwardly timed as well. 2 DTs first and foremost. If you can get on top of this, which is another reason why Lings can be very good against this build, and get a lot of damage on the Archons or straight up kill them, then that's really good. You know, that takes away a lot of the power of the drop if they could be potentially, you know, 3-shotted by Lings, Roaches, or Queens or whatever. These are fully healthy, and while Game Time did see where they're being warped in, there's nothing he's really going to do about it. He has a couple of Lings, a couple of Roaches. He is getting Roach speed, still no Baneling Nest, so I guess he is going into Roaches. Probably Hydras later. Not too bad. Just some larva pop there. Goes to the drones and a gas geyser, which is a nice move. You're going to get 3 drones. That's overall is not bad for the Zerg, but if they mess up their gas income, that's pretty good. And he does only have 2 out of 3 in there. I think he definitely went 3 out of 3. Third base is on the way. Resident Enclave's almost done. No Adepts warped in quite yet, aside from the very few in the beginning. If there was nothing but Lings chasing the Archons, following the Warp Prism, this could have been an opportunity to cancel the 3rd. You know, let the Roaches deal with the Archons and then send the Lings across the map. As it is now, the pylons will be done, and it's a little more suspicious, but it is a lot of Roaches. He has not really gone back into drones. He's just stopped at 51, 3 bases, and this is still risky. The Archons are still roaming in those Warp Prisms, plural now, and 4 of them just got unloaded into that main base. That is something the Roaches need to be back at home. All of the Roaches need to be back at home. Archons do a decent amount of damage. A Game Time, realizing that just delaying this push would hurt him more than anything, continues with the push while trying to rally whatever he can back at home. We'll see how it works out. There's only 1 pylon that naturally powers the Robo. Immortal would have been very, very helpful. Dark Shrine is also going to go down potentially, so no emergency Dark Shrine weapons if he does get that Overseer.
Yeah, we need to replace trade with race sometime for these emotes. Like this, I sit down and this is where we're at. I got the camera back, by the way. The overcharge is not going to be enough to hold on to this. But I actually wonder who's got better killing potential here.
It kind of, yeah, it's actually really something I can't answer.
It feels surprisingly close, but I guess a DT warp in defensively with no Overseer guarantees that this will eventually die. In fact, he probably should have just held position them on the ramp.
Oh man, he saved the Overseer that was over here, but then it kind of waffled in the middle of the map. I think he just hotkeyed it incorrectly. There's no reason for it to come back home. There's no DTs in that Warp Prism.
He's trying desperately to try and stop this from getting out of hand, but unfortunately the Warp Prism micro out of Hjax doesn't look too bad. And I know you said at the start of the game we don't know anything about him, we don't, but his micro's not too bad.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you, that's an Archon dive. That's bad, man.
Well, the bracket really told a story of him just getting walkovers, you know, not really being anyone notable.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like it's undeserved walkovers at this rate.
No, very, very weird game. Hjax has 3 bases, but only 25 probes. But Game Time was 34 drones, but only 2 bases. So, where does it come from?
I really feel like the probes are going to hurt more than anything else. Like, you can't saturate these 3 bases correctly. In fact, his gas mining hasn't been corrected yet either, so he really needs more units like DTs, or otherwise they're going to be gas expensive. And if he's not getting those back mining soon, he's missing out big time.
I do feel like just Game Time, he needs economy to build up a bigger Roach army, because his Roaches aren't better ever against Immortals and Archons. And without that economy, that's Hjax actually winning here. He has the Archons, he has the Immortal production, because he did lose the Dark Shrine, and he's getting a Robotics bait for what I assume is Disruptors. Maybe he loses the 3rd base, and maybe he still loses the game. After all, he's still half the supply down, and his Archons are being used offensively, not defensively. But if he was given time, I think his army wins out long term. Immortal is out, but there's not a lot of force fields or units to protect it. A couple of nice ones. Not bad, not
It
bad.
still has its barrier. It has not been triggered yet either. Losing one roach to trigger the barrier might not even be bad either, but army supply is getting really big for game time. And well, army type for Hjax is looking good. One disruptor at its maximum amount of kills still leaves game time with a superior army supply, I feel. If he can bully through with this is going to be great. Of course, a couple of Ravagers will just add on to this because they can throw the Corrosive Piles to break those nasty force fields, but DTs aren't going to be an issue. He knows it. He tore down the Dark Shrine, so these Overseers are... Oh, Contaminate denying the Disruptor!
That's nice. Very nice. That's the difference maker. A Disruptor gets a nice shot in the middle of these roaches, and that is way different. He can't break the wall.
If he kills the pylon, there's no chance for that thing to pop, and that's it. GG, well played. Okay, well, game time will take a very nice victory, but man, I sat down to some straight up chaos. Like, straight up.
Yes, you did. Very weird. Ascension to Ire is the next map, and I was supposed to take a shot, so I'll do that now.
While you do that, I'm hoping somebody else can address, somebody who is here watching this live can address this Reddit thread, because I feel like if I post anything on Reddit, it's going to get downvoted no matter what I post. So there's a thread where this guy's feeling unfairly disqualified from the tournament by BaseTradeTV. But I want to clarify a couple of things here because this really irritates me. Because I thought we were being very clear with our communication with him. Apparently not clear enough though. First off, this is not a BaseTradeTV tournament, nor are we in charge of what gets chosen for disqualifies and walkovers. It's entirely something where we are working for North by Northeast in terms of we're their bridge to the StarCraft community. I was speaking with the organizer from North by Northeast to determine what to do with this situation. It was their call to make. If you would like to shoot the messenger for this, then by all means you actually you are in the right to shoot the messenger in that way. But this wasn't something where Rifkin's going off on an abusing power trip as I'm already seeing being posted. This isn't Rifkin's poor judgment as I'm seeing being posted. This was somebody else's decision and I relayed the message. I am fully happy to take the bullet for this one too if it means that the organizers continue to do stuff with StarCraft. But I want to make it clear here and now this isn't the case. And we made it clear to him that we were disqualifying him, not because there were salty Zergs that he beat as stated in this thread, but because there was a chance and, I guess, scare for drama that the sponsors of this tournament didn't want to bother getting entangled with. If you're a player who's got drama surrounding around them, you are very, very screwed when it comes to participating in big events because sponsors will drop you so quick. Like, whether you're Power Foe, whether you're Snoot, whether you're fucking Innovation, nobody wants to deal with drama, and that's been proven by this guy making this Reddit thread is all the more reason he shouldn't be playing. So I stand by our, I guess, relayed decision, and I stand by our tournament organizer's decision to disqualify the guy, because this Reddit thread he's posted is just proof that this was a justified disqualification, in my opinion. But again, I didn't get to make that decision, and I didn't get to make that call. But at any rate, we are getting into game number 2. Spawning in the bottom right is going to be the yellow Zerg player up 1-0. Game time.
In the top left, as the pink Protoss, it is Hjax.
Actually, here's the best response to reading that Reddit thread.
What?
Skeletor's got my back. Anyways, I think game time had a, again, I missed the first few minutes of that game. Thank you for covering. But he had a pretty good defense, so it looked to be something that was, like, as I sat down, Archons were killing everything. There was no army supply available because it was across the map. That looked tough for game time, and I thought the second I sat down, wow, this Zerg player's in trouble.
Yeah, I thought so too. But just Hjax unable to get those power units, like more than one Immortal, or in this, in that case, the Disruptor popping out, made it so that his tech advantage was not enough. If he had pulled back the Warp Prism and all the Archons and had 4 Archons and 2 Warp Prisms or even 1 Warp Prism micring all of his units, I think he beats double the army supply of Roaches. That's kind of what Protosses have been used to dealing with. 60 army supply to 35, you know, whatever. But without that, that was a little more questionable, and GameTime was able to overwhelm. Now, GameTime also decided to go for a very dedicated push, so that's kind of what started this, like the game that you came down to see was that Hjax was going for a pressure build with more than a couple of Archons, and GameTime was going for an all-in. The way that the game went, still in favor of GameTime, it was still a little bit weird and clumsy. Maybe he's a little less eager to do the same thing.
Oh, I kind of forgot you can build on the low ground unless it's cannons. That's the only time it seems natural to me, but the Planet Council was really weird at that place there. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if this went down the same path, because it looked strong. Again, I sat down in the midst of battle, and it looked like the Protoss player was executing it very well. However, without a robo, I don't know. Maybe that comes down after. Maybe he decides not to go that pathway. We'll see what he does with this, because I personally really like Resonating Glaives and I like Adepts, but clearly strong strategies are strong for good reason, and if he's comfortable doing them, more power to him.
Well, I mentioned last game that, and there it is, the Dark Shrine again, that a lot of Zerg players are just going for the Ling Baneling Hydra. So when GameTime did on that Roach Roar, and I thought defensive at first, and then he still went for the attack. If he sees that it is the same exact build again, he might just be a little more wary about the quadruple Archon drop, but still, you know, demand a push on that third base. He's not going to need upgrades, not going to Baneling Nests, just macroing.
As soon as that Warp Prism pops out, we're going to start seeing it head across, and of course that's going to lead directly to the Archons. Now, I didn't see this part because I got down after. Did he start with DTs and do micro and damage, or was that straight to the, whoops. Oh, that's the wrong scene. I don't know what I pressed for that. Or did he go straight to the Archons?
Straight to Archons. And it wasn't that great. Like, of course, GameTime was entirely prepared for the Archons, as one is when they see it the Dark Shrine build. But the quadruple double Warp Prism Archons is what really caused the game to get funky, as GameTime was also committing to a push. This time the build is done a little bit better too. That fourth gateway finishes with the Warp Prism, and he even feels a little bit more confident maybe? Okay, no, just going to the Archons again.
I like the DT part of it, though. I feel like it is such a... Today I learned an Archon can block a merge. I really like when you see players pull off the DT damage, though, because it really feels like it's not that risky to pull off, but it is a difference for timing. So, yeah, it's tomatoes, and at the end of the day, you can win a game with both versions of doing this, but Hjax is actually supply blocked right now, which is a little bit rough, so he can't warp anything in.
No, Pylon was finishing up, and he is getting that third base. GameTime is a little bit more in the drones than it was last game. 56 instead of 51, but he is, right now, just producing roaches. I don't think he's wrong in trying to get an attack on that third base, but, you know, what part of the reason why it got so weird that last game was that it was double Warp Prism, such heavy commitment, and that it was slow roaches, even with speed, slower than Zergling roaches, that had to decide whether they were going to defend or attack, and they had to do both. If there was, like, literally 30 Lings right now, Hjax has not been very good about putting pylons around his third base when it's building. That thing would have been canceled.
Yeah, actually, any amount of Lings would be great, but unfortunately, it looks like he fears he might need them all at home. 4 Archons is a lot of freaking damage, and the double Warp Prism micro keeps them alive. No cleanup here for GameTime, unfortunately. But he is up by so much supply. Brute Force might just be the answer. It worked last game, might just work again this game. I mean, there was not much in the terms of finesse to the way he won game number 1. but there was a lot of army supply.
Hmm. Yeah, there was. Yeah, just overwhelming. Very, pretty quick robotics bay. This time not going to resonating glaives either, but into that blink, which I do think makes a lot more sense. I mean, it didn't really end up mattering because he couldn't get any fodder for his units anyways. There wasn't a big warping of adepts or stalkers or anything. His economy was cut so quickly. But I like blink disruptor a little bit more. He does have the defenses now up on that third base. But Game Time has successfully dealt with the Archons. While the Warp Prism is still floating around, he isn't being swamped, and he is just entirely dedicating to this push. That was not a lot. That was not a lot of defense, and Mothershipper's not even over here. Without something protecting these Immortals, their Bear's going to get popped, and they're going to get sniped very, very easily. And this seems like Game Time is going to much more smoothly get the win here.
Yeah, it's like 4 times the army supply. He's going to get an amazing disruptor hit, and that was an amazing disruptor hit, but that barely scratched the surface.
A lot more roaches on the way. Once again? No, okay, there's 2 pylons this time. But that Robo is still vulnerable. Might be worth targeting once those overcharges run out. Third base didn't actually die. It is going to.
Game Time looking to live on through the loser's bracket. Dives on top of the other disruptor. But while this goes on, of course, the third base got picked off, or the probes got pulled away. Archon goes down. I mean, Hjax, again, if he gets another amazing disruptor hit, it's scary. But it's still what feels like limitless roaches flooding in behind this.
Pretty much.
And the Robo going down means there's no more disruptors anyways, so warped in units are dead. Good game, well played. Hjax will unfortunately fall out of the loser's bracket, but Game Time will live to now go fight against ours. Who, by the way, I believe this will be the first time they are meeting, at least in today's tournament. I don't know if they played in the previous qualifier or not.
Not sure. I don't think so. Oh boy.
Yeah, I shouldn't be refreshing this thread to read it, but it's really making me disappointed. And then we've got our own subs making me disappointed in chat, too. I don't want to drive you away, MLG, Reki, but again, I want to make this as clear as I possibly can, and this is why I think that Reddit thread is dumb, is I did not make the decision. I know it's very easy to blame me, and it's fun to blame Rifkin for things, and 99% of the time I don't care. But to be perfectly clear, I did not make the decision to ban this guy. I presented the tournament organizers with all the information with zero bias. I don't know Powerful. I don't care about him one way negatively or positively, okay? This is about as objective as it can be. I presented the information, they made the call, I relayed the information, and we enforced it. That's literally what we're being paid to do, helping them run this organize the qualifiers and all this. So at the end of the day, this really is something I'm not going to care about tomorrow. It just bothers me and frustrates me, though. Not that there's this thread, but that there's this huge bandwagon of comments already jumping on it saying Rifkin's an idiot, Rifkin's wrong, Rifkin's abusing power. It's disappointing because I feel like there has been one instance in the whole time we've done this where I've absolutely gone on a power trip. And then we learned from that. And it's never happened again since. And it's just disappointing, I guess. It's disappointing for me that these are the people we're making content for. Now, granted, a majority of people are great, awesome folks like yourselves tuning in and who aren't fucking mouth-breathing idiots. But it's still just sad knowing that those types of people also benefit from the great stuff that we're proud to put on for you guys. Anyways, we're going to go to a commercial break. We'll set up for the next series ASAP. It's ours versus Game Time. They've got to do vetoes, so you're not missing anything. We'll see you soon.